Now we are looking at the Symmetric S7-1200 modular PLC. This modular mini PLC features a modular compact control system for the low-end performance range, scaled CPU range, extensive range of module. It can be expanded to up to 11 modules depending on the CPU. It can network with Profibus or Profinet. It also has a slot rule, CM left to the CPU, SM right of the CPU. This modular mini PLC is a total package with CPU and I/O in one device. It has integrated digital and analog input and output. It also has an expansion with signal board. This modular mini PLC is a micro PLC with integrated function. Now we are looking at the Symmetric S7-1200 modules. So the S7-1200 module has a slot rules. CM is to the left of the CPU, and SM, signal module, is the right of the CPU. Signal module, there is two signal module, which is the digital and analog. The digital input, output, or mix module came from a 24 VDC relay. The analog input, output, or mix module are coming from voltage, current, resistor, or thermocouple. And then we got the communication module or the communication processor, which can be connected using point-to-point connection, Profibus, AC master, or telecontrol. It also has the expansion boards, because with this CPU can be expanded by onboard I/O or an interface. A battery board ensures the long-term battery backup or the real-time clock. We're moving on to the next one, which is the S7-1200 installation and mounting position. So, for the installation, the modules are mounted on a standard mounting rail or alternatively screwed into the control cabinet. The S7-1200 also had an expansion cable which offer additional flexibility in configuring the S7-1200 system. One expansion cable can be used for each CPU system, either between the CPUs and the first SM or between the two SMs. Bus connector. It is located as a mechanical slide on the left side of the SM module. It is mechanically attached to the right side of the CEM or CP. We're going next for the mounting position. A horizontal or vertical mounting is possible. With a vertical mounting, the maximum allowed ambient temperature is 10 degrees Celsius lower. So right now we are going to take a look on the Symmetric S7-1500. The S7-1500 is the modular controller for the mid to upper performance range. The highlight of the S7-1500 is it has maximum performance of the entire system. High performance program execution in the CPU, high performance backplane bus, automatically activate system diagnostic right down to the I/O channel. It also traces for all CPU tags. It has CPU display for commissioning and diagnostic. It also simplified programming through user-friendly new instruction in ladder diagram, function block diagram, and statement list. So now we are looking at the S7-1500 modules. So as you can see, it's almost the same as the 1200 modules, but the only difference is on the slot rule, alright? So, slot 0, on 1500, we usually put the PS or PM, which is the power module or the power system. And then on slot 1, we would put our CPU. And as for 2 and 3 is our signal module. The 1500 module also has a CM and CP, which can be connected using point-to-point Profibus or Profinets. And we can also add another power segment, but it only has maximum 2 per rack for backplane bus supply of subsequent I/O modules. The max amount of central module in rack would be 32, and we can also put a technology module which can be used for counting or position sensing. So now let's talk about the power supply. I/O module in the central rack of the S7-1500 require a system power supply via the backplane bus and the load power supply. There is two, which is the power module and power system. Let's talk about the power module first. Power module to the load power supply supplies module with 24 VDC for input and output circuit as well as sensor encoders and actuators. If the CPU is supplied 24 volt via load power supply, it supplies the system power supply of 12 watt for the first inserted I/O module. Now let's get to the power system. Power system to system power supply the S7-1500 modules in the central rack via backplane bus. Each CPU offers a system power supply of 12 watt for the first inserted I/O modules. Depending on the I/O module used, further power segment have to be set up as required. A system power supply can also supply the load circuit for 24 volt VDC modules in addition to the CPU. So let's talk about the power supply and power segment of the I/O module. It is necessary to set up a power segment in the central rack for larger configuration or configuration with greater I/O module power requirements. A maximum of 3 power segments can be set up per rack. If the configuration includes additional power segment, additional system power supply modules are inserted to the right next to the CPU. The CPU then continues to control all modules of the rack. Only the system power supply of the I/O module is subdivided here. So now let's talk about the S7-1500 installation and mounting position. So for the installation, the modules are mounted on the S7-1500 profile rail bus connector. If the installation is made on the profile rail, the modules are then connected with the U connector. The U connector establishes the mechanical and electrical connection between the modules and is included with every I/O module. Now for the mounting position, a horizontal and vertical mounting is possible. With vertical mounting, the maximum allowed ambient temperature is 20 degrees Celsius lower. For the integrated mounting rail, for the S7-1500 CPU, there is a profile rail which components can be also mounted according to the EN6715. With that, even terminal, miniature circuit breaker, small contactor or similar components can be mounted in addition to the S7-1500. Now let's take a look to the S7-1500 connection, technology and front connector. So let's talk about the first thing first, which is the properties of the front connector. In each case, there are 40 terminals. The clamping technique would be screw type terminal or symmetric top connector. Then we got a pre-wiring position. The first connector latches up to the front cover. In this position, the front connector is still just out of the module, but the front connector and the module are not yet electrically connected. Then we got the jumper links. The jumper links can be inserted in the front connector in 4 places for easier setup of load groups. That is, looping the supply voltage to several potential groups. Only one connection from left to the right exists. Then we got automatic coding for the I/O modules. This enables a faster, safer exchange of the front connector. Then we got 2 front door latching position. At the bottom of the front cover, there are 2 different latching positions for different space requirement of the contactor bundle. Now we are looking at the CPU display of the S7-1500. Alright. Every S7 CPU is delivered with a display, 2 sizes depending on the CPU type. It has its own MLFB, can be ordered as a replacement part. CPU can be operated without the display. Removal and insertion possible during running operation. the CPUs will stay and run. Bilingual display, menu and error message tags. Language can be switched during the running operation. So how to use the S7 1500 CPU? How to select the main menu item? By using the right and left D-pad. To shift the selection of the submenu item, you can use the up and down D-pad. To choose the selected submenu item, use the right D-pad and press OK button. To go back one menu item, just press the escape button. To edit setting after choosing the menu item, use the up, down, left and right D-pad. And to accept change, just press OK. To discard change, just press escape. So this is the CPU display, menu and colors. As you can see, main menu items in their meaning. So the icon would be the overview, CPU status, name type, MLFB version, and then we got diagnostic, that display diagnostic buffer, message display, and the settings, CPU setting, addresses, time, operating mode, CPU reset, protection level, unlock display when password is set. Then we also got modules and display. So the color of status information and their meaning. Green would be run of CPU, run with pending alarm message. Yellow means stop or CPU is on hold. Reds mean error. White, connection setup of connection to CPU is lost. This is on the right, there's the additional symbol in the status information. This locked, meaning the password configure is not been entered. The second one is the password is configured and entered. The emergency logo is an alarm exists. The F is a force job is active on the CPU. Now we are looking at SIMATIC S7 1200 and 1500 technology function. We got high-speed counters, up to 6 high-speed counters, 3 at 100 kHz, and 3 at 30 kHz are available for precise monitoring of incremental encoders, frequency counting, and counting of highly frequent process event. We also got motion to control rotary speed, position, or pulse duty factor. A total of 2 PWM outputs are available. Application examples are, for example, controlling the speed of motor, position of a valve, or the mark to space ratio to heat for a heating element. For rotary speed and position control, a total of 2 PTO outputs at 100 kHz are available. It supplies a pulse train for controlling speed and position of a stepper or servo motor. And then we also got a PID, for example, closed loop control tasks up to 16 PID control circuits with automatic PID adjustment and tuning control panel are available. Moving on, this is the S7 1200 and 1500 memory card. It can load memory, distribution of program only for S7 1200, firmware update, documentation, memory card binding, unlinked DBs, achieving of data, module exchange without PG. So as you can see, number 1 is the serial number of the SD card, 2 is the product version, 3 would be the order number, 4 is the card size, 5 is the slide switch for write protect. Write with commercially available SD card reader or field PG. So, for memory card binding or copy protection, the executability of the program can be bound to the serial number of the card. To load memory, the S7 1500, this has no integrated load memory and therefore it is imperative that the card is inserted. While for the S7 1200, it has an integrated load memory. Here, an inserted memory card can replace the integrated load memory or the card can be used for the program update. So, distribution of programs only for the S7 1200. The use of a transfer card is only supported by the S7 1200 here. A program can be downloaded into a CPU without PG if a card is inserted. Achieving of data only for the S7-1500. It is possible to achieve process value of the card. The use of this functionality influence the operating life of the memory card. So let's take a look for the overview of the distributed signal module. So, distributed I/O system allow inputs and output module to be installed close to the processors. So as you can see from the picture, the ET200SP has the DI and DQ, AI and AQ, FDI and FDQ, but not for FAI and FAQ. For the ET200NP, they only have two, which is the digital input and output and analog input and output. For the ET200S, it's also the same with the SP. The ET200M has all of them. The ET200 Pro only has 3, and it's also the same as the SP and S. So the ET200NP are modular and scalable, used for the CES7-1500 module for decentralized configuration, ideal for large plants. For the Symmetric ET200SP, which is a compact, user-friendly, high-performance system with a wide range of modules for various applications, including fail-safe and high availability. So this is the fail-safe module. So then we got the ET Pro, which is the robust IP65 or 67 rated for direct machine mounting. Excellent for series machine and distributed intelligence. Then we got the Symmetric ET200 SPHA, specifically for the process industry, offering high availability and support for standard failsafe and EX I/O in one station. Then we got the Symmetric ET200BL, economical solution with essential function for simple, cost-sensitive tasks. Then we also got the Symmetric ET200 ISP, economical I/O for intrinsically safe application in hazardous area. How do they connect to the S7? Using the interface module, these connect to the ET200 station to the higher level S7 controller like the S7-1500 via Profinet or Profibus DP. We can also use distributed controller. ET200SP CPUs can act as a decentralized PLC, offering the S7-1500 functionality in compact form factor, programmed in TIA portal. Selection factor, applications for standard automation, process industry, or machine level, performance, compactness, speed, or high availability. And for the environment, standard control cabinet versus harsh or hazardous. For most modern S7-1500 application, the ET200MP or the ETSP are common choices, with specialized version for the specific industry need. So now let's take a look at the TT200MP configuration and maximum number of modules. So this station is built on an S7-1500 aluminum mounting rail and consists of the following components. One of which is the IM or interface module, the head of the station that connects the field buses like Profinet or Ethernet or even Modbus. Then we got the I/O module. These are plugged into the rack to handle the digital or analog signal, safety or technology function. They use a standardized 40-pin front connector with a pre-wiring position for easier installation. Then we got a backplane bus. Modules are connected via U-connector for standard setup or an active backplane bus if high availability hot swapping is required. It also got a power supplies. A load power supply feeds the sensor or actuators, while an optional system power supply PS may be needed to boost power for the internal backplane buses if many modules are used. The maximum number of modules per station is strictly limited by interface modules capability and the total power budget. So for Profinet, up to 30 modules. Station exceed 12 modules typically require a system power supply. So multi-field bus up to 30 modules supported up to 1440 bytes 1440 bytes of payload data per station. For Profibus, up to 12 modules limited by the standards addressing an electrical structure. So for Profinet Basic, up to 12 module designed for smaller cost optimization does not require an additional PS. Technical limit. In addition to the module count, the addresses per station is capped at 112 byte for both input and output data. For safety critical setup, every 6F module added typically to reduce the total possible module count by 1. Next, we are going to take a look at the legacy system, which is the S7300 modular automation system. It features compact control system for the lower and middle performance range. Scale CPU range, extensive range of modules can be expanded up to 32 modules. Backplane bus integrated in the modules can be networked with multi-point interface, Profibus, or industrial Ethernet, or even Profinet. It also features central PGPC connection with access to all module, no slot rule for I/O module. It can configure. It also features configuration and parameter setting to help the hardware configuration tool. So this is the S7300 modules. The S7300 has a signal module, which is the digital input module, digital output, analog input, and analog output. It also has an interface module, the IM360 and the IM361. Make a multi-tiered configuration possible. The interface module loops the bus from one tier to the next. There also has a dummy module, which is the DM3370. The dummy module reserves a slot for a signal module whose parameters have not yet been assigned. A dummy module can be used to reserve a slot for installation of an interface module at later date. It also has a function module for counting, positioning, or closed-loop control. Then it also has a communication processor, which can be point-to-point connection, Profibus, industrial Ethernet, or Profinet. Then we are looking at the other legacy system, which is the S7400, which features the Power PLC for mid to upper performance range, scaled CPU range, extensive range of modules can be expanded to over 300 modules. Backplane bus integrated with mounting rack, can be networked with multi-point interface, Profibus, or industrial Profibus, industrial Ethernet, or Profinet. It also features a central PGPC connection with access to all module. Only had a few slot rule. It also features configuration and parameter setting to help with the hardware configuration tool. It also has a multi-computing. Up to 4 CPUs can be used in the central rack. So let's take a look at this S7400 module. The S7400 module also has a signal module, which is the DI/DQ and AIAQ. It also has an interface module, which is the IM460, IM461, IM463, and IM467.
interface modules that provide the connection between various racks. It also has a function module for counting, positioning, and closed loop control. Then it also has a communication processor which can be connected using point-to-point connection, Profibus, industrial Ethernet, or even Profinet connection. So we are looking at the Symmetric S7400 CPU design. So it has error LED for displaying the status and errors of the CPU. Then we have slot for memory card. With the S7400 CPU, you can, depending on your requirement, insert a RAM or flash EEPROM cards as an external load memory. RAM cards are available with a capacity of 64 KB, 256 KB, 1 MB, 2 MB, and so So right now we are looking at the error LEDs. We are looking at the S7400 CPU design. So as you can see, it has the error LEDs to display the status and the error of the CPU. It also has the slot for memory card because the S7400 CPUs, depending on your requirements, can be insert a RAM or flash an EEPROM card as an external load memory. It also has a mode selector, MPI DP interface to establishing the online connection to the programming device. And lastly, it also has a Profinet interface and an external battery supply. An additional external battery supplies battery socket for a 5 VDC to 15 VDC source to back up the RAM when the power supply is being replaced. So we are looking at the embedded automation overview. So PC-based control. Symmetric embedded automation is an implementation of various automation tasks on one common PC and software platform. Today, 3 fundamental directions can be derived from this. So one of them is a modular controller, the S7-1200, S7-300, and 400 controllers with their different versions and performance characteristic. Then they also an embedded controller such as the Symmetric S7 MEC and Symmetric Microbox. Then we also had the Symmetric panel PC with a Windows ACMP and industrial PCs. So lastly, we are going to take a look at the Symmetric PC-based automation product overview. So, Symmetric PC-based automation integrates the power of industrial PCs with traditional PLC, control, visualization, and high-level programming on a single hardware platform. This approach is ideal for complex applications requiring high-speed processing, large data volume, and seamless IT or OT integration. So, the core component. Symmetric IPC, ruggedized hardware designed for 24/7 industrial use. Available in several formats, and one of those format is Rack PC, Bulk PC, Panels PCs, and Tablet PCs. The Symmetric S7-1500 software controller, which is a software-based version of the S7-1500 PLC that runs directly on the IPC. It operates independently of the Windows operating system via a hypervisor, ensuring the control program continues to run even if the OS fails or restarts. Then we got the Symmetric Wins CC Unified, a modern web-based visualization system, for example, HMI or SCADA, that run on PC platform to handle sophisticated monitoring and data achieving tasks. Key feature and benefits. One of the key features and benefit would be a high performance because it's capable of high-speed motion control and processing massive data sets such as industrial image processing or predictive maintenance. Other than that, it also openness and integration. allowing direct integration of high-level language applications such as C or C++ or even Python, and IT standard software such as database or web servers with the PLC program. One of the key, other than that, it also unified engineering. All component IPC, software controller, and HMI are configured within the TIA portal, ensuring data consistency and simplified diagnostic. It also has a safety and security integrated, support failsafe function, and include robust industrial security features to protect intellectual property and prevent unauthorized access. So, the common application for this would be data-intensive tasks, sorting machine, labeling, and quality inspection using AI or vision system, digitalization serving as an edge gateway to collect and pre-process machine data before sending it to the cloud. It also common for complex machine such as special purpose machinery where control logic and PC-based specialized software must work in tight synchronously or in synchronization. So that will be all for me. Thank you very much. And that's all for chapter 1 of TIA Programming 1.